everybody. My name is Bad Brad, and I'm a guitar player based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And I want to talk today about something I brought up with some of the musicians I was playing with last night. And I thought about it. And this may be the worst nightmare any guitar player or musician could face. Can you imagine playing a gig and having no idea what songs are going to be called? That is a common thing here in Nashville, okay? Now with the corporate and wedding and that type of scene that I do a lot of gigs because I play a lot of different styles of music. So I like that. I like to get on a gig and play some rock and play some funk and play a couple jazz songs. And that is a common thing here in Nashville. And from what I talked to some of the musicians last night, in Texas, some of the band members would have set lists and the band would pull from the set list. And I said, well, what about an audible? What's an audible, you say? Okay, let's say you do have a set list and you look out at the crowd and it's not working, or maybe the crowd's tired or it's old or whatever. This is where not having a set list has advantages, okay? Calling an audible would mean, hey guys, skip the next song, here's what we're gonna do. And the leader of the band will call a different style of song or a different song than what you initially thought would be on the set list. Now, another guy also said that some of the bands will stick to the set list no matter what. And I tell you what, after playing many hundreds of gigs with no set list, that frightens me more than playing a gig with no set list. And the reason for that is you've got to watch your audience. You've got to figure out what's going to work to get them to enjoy the music. Okay, and that comes into talking about playing gigs with no set list. Why would you do that? Why would you put your, you know what on the line and not know what you're going to be playing? Well, first off, a lot of these groups that I play with, they have similar songs and similar types of music that they play. And a lot of times I will know by who's on the gig kind of an idea of what we're going to play, because the band leader will know the strengths and weaknesses of each player. So if you've got a guy in your band that doesn't play a lot of heavy jazz stuff, he's not going to call those really, hard and difficult, deep track, jazz songs. Okay. And the same thing goes with, if everybody in the band is a really strong R&B player, they're not going to call a lot of 80s rock style songs. They're going to stick to the dance R&B, old school R&B playlist. Now, the advantages to not having a set list is everything isn't audible. While you're playing your song, the band leader is thinking about, and sometimes I'm band leader, sometimes somebody else is band leader, but the band leader is looking at the crowd and thinking, what's going to work? What's a good segue into this next song? A lot of times we will do arrangements on the fly, and the drummer will either, continue the beat, just like how a DJ will blend tempos or maybe change the tempo of a record so that he can keep the dance floor filled. A lot of times we'll literally, look back at the drummer. Maybe the leader points at his bass drum, and that means just keep that bass drum going between songs. And that way we keep the crowd out on the dance floor. Because why do you want to keep a crowd out on the dance floor? Because a dancing crowd is usually a drinking crowd. And if people are drinking, if it's a cash bar or say you're playing a bar gig, That's real important because selling alcohol, ultimately, if you sell a lot when you play, the club's going to call you back because, hey, man, we have really good sales when these guys play. And the way you do that is you keep people dancing, but you also know when to play a slow song. Now, the other thing to consider and why you would do gigs with no set list, because what if you have no idea what the crowd's going to look like? You get called for an event, and I've had this happen on both sides where maybe it's an all African American crowd, and that's certainly going to dictate your set list. If you've written a set list full of 80s, rock songs, and you get to the gig and it's an all African American crowd, guess what? Your set list is not going to work. It might not work. All right. Maybe it would work. I don't know. But my guess is it's not going to work. Or you get to the gig and you realize the crowd is older than what we normally play for. You're going to have to adjust what you play to suit your crowd. Okay, so that will give you your initial idea of what, when you first see your crowd, you're going to give you an idea. Oh, tonight's going to lean a little bit on the older side of what we do. The older songs, the more classic stuff, you're going to lean on that. And you're going to maybe stay away from some of the newer stuff or stuff with extreme, really fast tempos, or, really not play a lot of hard rock. All right. So playing gigs, to me, with no set list is the preferred way to go in a gig. And let's say maybe it's in a more advanced way of looking at a gig. Now, you can't do it in every situation, and sometimes it really helps if you've got a lot of new guys on your gig and maybe some people that you're unsure of. Maybe you've got people coming on the gig for the first time because you've gone down, you've called everybody you know. See, a lot of gigs here in Nashville, it's like what we would call a pickup band. You're literally like, I've got a gig on this date and I need a bass player. So you've got your first and second and your third calls and fourth and fifth calls, and you can get way down on that list and you're having to call guys, wait a minute, I don't have anybody I know I'm booking on this gig. I'm having to get a referral from a referral. And sometimes you're unsure of the player's abilities on your gig. At that point, you've got to say, you know what? I'm going to put together a set list and I'm going to email it to everybody. And that way, there shouldn't be any surprises. Now, you also have to hope that they do their homework before they come to their gig. But sometimes you don't have control over that. But you definitely, if you've got unknown entities on the gig, you're definitely gonna need to do some preparation and try to get, pull from the, common songs that everybody knows. There's a lot of talk here in town about, oh, we don't play this song, and we don't play, or I'm tired of playing this song. Man, I am not tired of playing any song. I am happy to play the simplest, easiest, oldest songs there is if it'll please the crowd. That's what I'm there for. I can practice at home. I can play whatever I want when I'm at home. But when I'm on a gig, my job is to entertain the crowd. And you know what? I'll do it. I don't care. Some of these songs I've literally played thousands of times. And you know what? I say, if you're tired of playing a song, then play it better. Okay? Because you should not be, oh, I don't like this song, and not putting your heart into it. If you're not putting your heart into everything you play, then you need to maybe take a step back and go, you know what? I need to play every song as good as I can and try to lock in that groove. Like a simple song like Brick House. We've played that song 1,000 times. It usually always fills the dance floor, so that's why we keep playing it. And I don't get bored playing that song because whoever the drummer is on the gig, I'm going to try to lock in so tight and make it feel so good that it is undeniable. People will want to dance. And that is the thing, the little micro placement of where you hit that chord. It's all very important with the feel of the music. Sure, they're easy parts, but you can make it feel good. So playing gigs with no set list, though, is the preferred method that we use. And when we've got known entities on the gig and we know, hey, we've got our first or second call players on this gig, we know what everybody knows. We know, that what we can play and what not to play. That is an ideal position to be in because we can play and call audibles and the drummer can make a symbol, or we'll have code words like brown eye, brown-eyed girl, or we'll have, I got guys doing this now when they want me to do a Stone song. I'll do the Mick Jagger, and the drummer will look at me and go, and I'll know it's time to do some Rolling Stones. Just little things that you can do to keep the groove going and try to, keep that rhythm going. Sometimes, having no stops between songs. There's a lot of gigs here in town in Nashville. Well, they might play 2, 3, 4 hours straight sometimes, no breaks. And that means sometimes the lead singer might, hey guys, everybody take a break. I'm going to do one song acoustically. And that way the music keeps going and everybody can go to the restroom or get a drink or whatever they need to do. Take a quick little break. And that'll give you a 3 or 4 minute break while the singer does the song. Then later, maybe the bass player sings or maybe the keyboard player sings. He does a song and gives the lead singer a break. So that's a lot of times how that works, and that happens a lot down on Broadway. But even in the corporate world or doing these corporate gigs and these weddings, there's a lot of times where they say, we want continuous music. And sometimes it'll be 3 hours. And you know what? As a band leader, I've been asked to do those, and I know a lot of times the band guys might not want to do it, but I'll say, look guys, if you need a break, let me know. I'll let you take a break. I'm going to stay on stage, and with whoever's able to continue, I'm going to make music for that full 3 hours, and I'll take it and I'll put it on myself. But not having a set list allows you to do that because, hey, wait a minute, maybe the singer's voice starts going out and you're starting to rely on your guitar player who happens to sing or your bass player who happens to sing. Or maybe you've got 2 lead singers and you go, one of our singers' voice is starting to go. It's starting, so we need to switch over and let the other singer sing a few songs. You don't want to grind your singer into the ground. And not having a set list will have you listen and go, I can hear when a singer needs a break. I can hear it when they're starting to go flat. I can hear it when the rasp starts to kick in their voice. And not having a set list allows me to go, hey, time for a break. I can hear it in their voice. They need a break. So we'll get somebody else on the mic. All right. So these are all reasons why you can play a gig with no set list. Now, if you get songs that maybe you don't know, you get on these gigs and you don't know the songs, there is an app that I use called iReel. All right. And it has charts in it and you can download charts from the internet and playlists. You can create playlists and all this. So this would be a way, even if you're a set list guy, where you could put set lists together. Everybody in the band, you can, send the set list to everybody and share it. And that way everybody's on the same page. But a lot of times on these gigs with no set list, somebody will go, hey, we're going to play Girl from Ipanema. I don't know Girl from Ipanema by heart. I know it's in F. I know a few of the changes, but I don't play it often enough that I have it memorized. So that's where iReal comes in. I'll go quick. I'll just go right to the word that I know is unique to the song, and I'll type in the word Ipanema. And boom, there's the chart, boom. And I'm instantly, within seconds, I've got it right there, and I'm comping the chords and supporting, the band as a guitar player. So that's another tip that you can use. But let me know in the comments, do you do gigs without set lists? Do you do set lists? How do you work? And let me know, what do you do when your singer's tired? Or do you sing on your gigs? And, how do you get a break? And do you take breaks on your gigs? Let me know these things in the comments, because I'm very curious. I was asking guys last night about Texas, and they said Texas was mostly set lists. And then, I asked them about Chicago, and they said, no, Chicago, now they do things a lot like Nashville, where there's no set list and they're calling from, standard tunes. So, I'm curious about New Orleans. I'm curious about Europe, Ireland, Germany, England. What do you guys do when you play gigs? Do you work from a set list, or you just go with the flow and figure out what works best for the audience? Let me know in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.